Hey everybody, Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich here. Here's your morning vlog update on Ian. As you are probably experiencing, the first waves of rain and wind have already made it to the Charlotte metro area, and it's cold out there. It is a raw day. That's something that, might catch you off guard because this does not feel like a tropical system. It feels like a nor'easter. There's the circulation. The first bands are making it to the Charlotte area and really the I-77 corridor. The track is still straight up towards areas between Myrtle Beach and Charleston, probably around Georgetown. Would be the main area, but probably doesn't matter. Grand Strand somewhere, and surge will be an issue down there. But the storm is not going to get much stronger. If anything, it looks like a hybrid system. It does not look like a hurricane or a tropical system because the whole southern side is kind of open. It probably is more of a subtropical storm, which doesn't really matter for impacts, but it does mean that it's not going to get that much stronger because we don't have thunderstorms near the center. A lot of what's driving its energy is its interaction with the cold front and the upper trough. Now you can see it moving north. By 2 a.m. it should be somewhere near the North-South Carolina border, near the Sandhills, and then by Saturday afternoon it's up near the Virginia-North Carolina border, and it's kind of out of here. So it's going to be moving fairly quickly. I want to quickly show you the wind gust out there because we have seen some pretty good wind gusts this afternoon, or this morning, I should say. I'll show you temperatures first because temperatures, again, running basically in the 50s. It is brutally chilly out there with the wind and the rain. The wind gusts, so these are the current wind gusts. You could see most have been in the 25 to 30 mile per hour ranges. Get closer to the center, down towards the Charleston area, you start seeing more gusts jumping up to about 40 or 45. Already got a 45 mile per hour gust there. It looks like in Georgetown. So that's the kind of wind, that core of wind will be coming up here later this evening. And by the way, the wind field is huge. I'm going to plot the wind field on there. I'll turn off the wind speeds really. This is the wind field, folks. It is huge. You often talk about not looking at the cone. This is why. I think this is about 500 miles wide. Tropical storm force winds. These are 58 mile an hour winds down here, and the hurricane force winds are in a very tiny center. So it is a little lopsided. Even with the track just to our east, it's still going to put us in the core of these stronger winds. If I look at the forecast going into the future, we'll do the forecast radii. You could see this is where the radii of the wind go. So by this evening, you can see those winds will move into the Charlotte area, at least the strong tropical storm force winds. The threat for severe weather is pretty minimal. I'm going to turn off all of the satellite and radar imagery, and I'll show you the severe weather outlook for today real quickly. You can see that off to the east. That's if we're going to see tornadoes, it's going to be in the eastern part of the state. There is a medium risk, and that is for tornadoes as the spiral bands kind of spin in from the coast. So let's quickly look at the future cast here. I can load this up relatively quickly. I'll do it in real time with you guys. We're going to load up the next 48 hours of the future cast, and you'll get a real good idea. I'll back it up, and we'll go into the future here. So this is 9 a.m. this morning. As I'm recording this, the bands are moving in. We go through time. You see along the front on the coast, this is where the severe weather would be. Landfall occurs somewhere right about there. 2 o'clock this afternoon, it looks like, maybe 2, 3. But look at the bands moving into Charlotte. Pretty tight gradient from west to east of really heavy rain to light rain. But this is the time frame. Look at 6 p.m. right here. If this band sets up like this will be really strong north and northeast winds, maybe gusting to 45 or 50. On top of that, we'll also see really heavy rain. By 8 o'clock, it's still pouring. So this evening, basically 2 p.m. to midnight is the worst weather. As we go into the overnight, you see it start to lift north. And by midnight, things start to improve. Now, the mountains, you're going to see rain linger into the early morning hours of Saturday. So for the mountains, Saturday morning could be really, really wet. But as we get later into Saturday, you could see the wet weather kind of lifts to the north and the dry slot comes in. That dry air punches in the backside and comes in here like this and kind of shuts off the precipitation, at least gives us drizzle or mist. And then Saturday afternoon, we might see a pop-up shower or two, but overall, the risk of any heavier rain starts to really diminish. And then going into Sunday morning, the system moves out, but we will probably see some pop-up storms Sunday afternoon. So let's quickly look at the amount of rain and wind we're talking about. These are the max wind gusts I'm expecting, probably right around 50 miles an hour. That would be the maximum wind sustained, probably 20 to 30 miles an hour. Rainfall amounts kind of went down a little bit, but there's a tight gradient. The further west you go, much lower amounts back to the west. You're probably looking at totals that are maybe a half an inch to an inch, then 1 to 3 inches here. And then here is where the really bad drawing. Really bad drawing there. 3 to 6 inches in this area right in here. So the swath of heavy rain looks to be right in here. And that's also where we have the higher risk for flash flooding today. If I were to turn this off real quickly and show you the flash flood risk today, I could show you that's the area where the day one flash flood guidance has us in that 45% chance of flash flooding in that area, basically in red. So that's the core of where we're going to see possibly some flash flooding. So really impressive looking system on satellite, but it looks more like a subtropical system, I should say, than a tropical system. If I look at the water vapor loop, maybe I can pop that up real quickly. You can see there is some thunderstorms trying to develop near the center, but there's a lot of dry air coming in. See this dry air on the backside? When you widen this out, you really get the full picture of this. Anytime you see it look like a comma, that is a sign of more of a subtropical system where the strongest winds and rain start moving up here and away from the center. But there is a cluster of showers and storms near the center just north of it right now that are probably going to keep it as it moves over the Gulf Stream and then heads eventually up to our north. So again, turn the radar back on. We'll loop it a couple times. There it is, slowly meandering off towards the north at about 8 miles per hour. Maximum sustained winds near the center, 85, but the lighter winds of 40 to 50 will be to the northwest lighter. We'll be heading our way later this afternoon. I will post updates and we'll do a live stream when it's going to make landfall. Brittany and I will be doing a live stream from the station probably around 2 or 3 o'clock. So stay tuned for that and we'll keep everything up to date. Be ready for some power outages probably this evening as the heavier rain and winds move in. We always see a couple of trees and power lines come down with winds and rain like that, especially with all the trees in our area. So just be ready for the possibility of that. Make sure you're charging up your phone pretty well and make sure you have some battery backup just in case.